please ask in English first. But if you have difficulties to speak or any other things, so you can ask in Bahasa, and he will understand as well. So without further ado, please welcome Professor Riza.
Thank you. Anywho, maybe it's okay. I can just start. So good morning, everyone. So I think, as you can see on the screen, my topic is about gender diversity in the construction industry, but I will link the content with, in a sense, occupational health and safety as well. And even though it's in the construction industry, I think the principles can be applied to different contexts, not only for the construction industry. Thank you. Yes. Next, please. I just appear all of them, please. So yes, I think I've been introduced. My name is Risa Yosia Sunindyo, Deputy Head of School Research in the School of Built Environment. And you can see a bit of my background as well. So I started as a civil engineer before I changed my education background and also my career into construction management. So I started as a structural engineer, but then I worked for Lendlease. Lendlease is the largest construction company in Australia. So I became contract admin, site engineer, project engineer, sustainability champion, and then I moved to Jones Lang LaSalle as a project manager. But Jones Lang LaSalle is the second largest real estate company in the world. Now I'm a full-time academic staff at UNSW, and obviously I teach, I do research, and I do admin activities as well. If you want to connect with me, I'm happy to do so. Please add me on LinkedIn. And I do have my YouTube channel as well if you want to know more about me. Next, please. Just a quick intro about UNSW and UNSW Built Environment. So as you can see there, our performance is supported by our research income. So every year, usually we receive about 12 to 13 million dollar research income. And we produce 300 scholarly publications every year as well. The School of Built Environment is #1 for research in architecture in the world. And as a university, we are number 20 in the world according to QS ranking. In the school, we have 3,500 students, so undergraduate and postgraduate, in bachelor and master. As a university, we have 80,000 students. And in the School of Built Environment, again, 140 research students, meaning Master of Philosophy and PhD. And we have slightly more than 100 academic staff. And we are home to 7 world's top 2% scientists. Next, please. We have 7 disciplines in the School of Built Environment, as you can see on the screen there: architecture, computational design, construction, city planning, industrial design, interior architecture, and landscape architecture. And we do research in 3 broad areas. The first one, sustainable built environments, how to reduce carbon emissions, for example, green technologies, green buildings. The second one, digital and smart built environments, collecting big data and then analyzing them, maybe using technologies as well, machine learning, AI. And the second one is also about the use of technology in what we do in the built environment sector. And the third one, which is probably the closest to all of you in the public health sector or in the occupational health and safety. The third research area is about healthy and equitable built environment. So the way we build our built environment obviously should be healthy and should be safe. And even our built environment should ensure the health and safety of the users and the people surrounding the built environment. And the last one, it's just basically we want our research to be impactful. So it should make a difference. So it should have real world practice impact. So basically, those are the things that we do in the school. Next, please. Okay, so now, why the construction industry? And the same, if you want to focus on other industries, you need to understand the importance of focusing on that particular industry. Because of my discipline, so therefore I focus on the construction industry. For example, in terms of economic influence, the construction industry is responsible for roughly about 12% of the world's output. So it's a massive industry. The same in Australia as well. It contributes to about 10 to 11% of the GDP in the country. So it's the third largest industry in Australia. In terms of social contributions, it employs 200 million people globally, more actually than 200 million people globally. And in Australia, roughly 10% of the workforce is working in the construction industry. Again, it's a big industry. It supports other industries by providing infrastructure and facilities and adds values to other industries as well. If we imagine doctors and nurses, they work in clinics and hospitals, and the clinics and hospitals are built by the construction industry. And even when we go shopping, all the goods and products in the shopping center, they can be transported there because of the construction industry, right? The roads and all the infrastructure to make it happen. Well-being, it contributes to positive well-being by providing our basic needs. We spend more than 90% of our time indoor, and all the buildings are built by the construction industry. This university, our homes, schools, shopping centers, and so on. So those facilities and infrastructure obviously contribute to our well-being. And the last one, the environment. The construction industry is one of the largest contributors of carbon emissions. So therefore, there are many opportunities for promoting sustainable development by changing the way we do things in the construction industry to make it more sustainable. Next, please. Now, the workforce composition in construction, or this can be applied to any male-dominated industries as well. So in Australia, roughly 50% of the workers are women. I'm not sure the fact in Indonesia, but I think it should be close to 50% as well, or at least maybe 40% of the workforce here are women. But at least it's a significant proportion. But if we go further into construction industry, only 13% of construction workers are women. So construction workers mean both the professionals and also the workers, the laborer on site. So in Australia, we call them both workers, just to make it clear. If we go to tradies, so tradies are basically I think the term in Indonesia is actually called tukang. So we have carpenters, we have plumbers, we have electricians, and so on. Only 2% of tradies are women in Australia. And this diagram shows the percentage of executives by gender. So top 400 engineering and construction companies in the world. As you can see, the blue one is women executives and the green one is men executives. Maybe a bit small for you, but anyway, so this one is 0%. 76% of those companies do not have any women in the executive level. And then if you go a bit further, 1 to 10%, so 1 to 10% of the executives are women, only 6% of the companies. 11 to 20%, only 12%. 21 to 30%, 2.3%, and so on. While men, as you can see, they dominate the executive level, even in top companies. So it opens, I guess, an opportunity for us to recruit more women to enter the male-dominated industries. Next, please. So why? Why is it important to recruit more women, or at least to improve gender diversity in a male-dominated industry like the construction industry? So based on research, those are the benefits of gender diversity specifically for construction. The first one, it addresses labor shortage. So in Australia, we need 300,000 more workers in the construction industry by 2027. And one of the ways to do so is actually to attract more women, because at the moment, we are missing the talent of the half of the population, essentially, because we cannot attract women to work in the construction industry. So if we want to address the labor shortage issue, one of the easiest ways, in a sense, is actually to attract women into the industry. The second one, it offers fresh perspective and ideas, which then can promote innovations and creativity. Because if we only have men, maybe we only have certain mindset or ways of doing things, then it's difficult to innovate in the construction industry. But if we can attract women, then they can offer different perspectives, which can promote innovation and creativity. Enhanced relationships with stakeholders. I'm not sure why, but somehow the research shows women actually are better in terms of building relationship with other people. So therefore, that's another benefit of gender diversity. And fewer conflicts, because men, usually we are more aggressive. We just want to get what we want, but somehow women are better in terms of conflict resolution. So then by recruiting more women, the research shows that it can reduce the amount of conflict. Improved culture and well-being, which is related to occupational health and safety as well. Somehow, when a company has more women in its workforce, automatically its health and safety implementation is also better. And the last one, all of those will obviously improve the bottom line as well, which is time, cost, and quality. So those are the benefits of gender diversity. Next. How about gender and safety in the construction industry? This is an interesting fact, I suppose. So 11.7%, roughly 12% of the construction workforce are women, but they are only accountable for 1.9% of total incidents. So 10.2% of female professionals. So basically, among all the professionals in the construction industry, about 10% of them are women. And those 10% of women are responsible for only 0.6% of incidents, while for men, 14% of them are responsible for 4.4% of incidents. So somehow, men experience more incidents, even at the professional level. So professional means not the laborer, but can be the manager and the engineers. If we go to the workers themselves, which is the laborers, So in the construction industry, only 1.5% of the laborers are female workers, and they are responsible for 1.3% of the incidents, while for male workers, the number is very significant. So 73% of them are men, and they are responsible for more than 93% of incidents in the construction industry. So the argument is that, okay, it seems like women, they tend to work safer in the construction industry, and it may be applied to other industry as well. Well, we need more research on that one. But at least for the construction industry, it seems like women are safer in the way they do their work. Next, please. Next. How about mental health? Again, interestingly, the rate of suicide among male construction workers, based on Australian data, is about twice the rate of other male workers. So somehow for men, when they work in the construction industry, their suicide rate doubles. And 87% of construction workers are male. So therefore, mental health is a very serious issue in the construction industry. And we can see the comparison, the suicide statistics among male workers and female workers. So the top table shows that the first row, construction, the rate per 100,000 workers is 26, while for non-construction, the rate is 13.5. So therefore, it's double in the construction industry. If we compare with the rate among female, you can see that the number or the rate drops significantly. In construction, the rate per 100,000 workers is only 6.5, while for non-construction is 3.4. So somehow men are more vulnerable in terms of experiencing mental health problems. So the argument is the same. If we can attract more women, so hopefully this also can improve the mental health and well-being in the construction industry or even in other industries as well. Next, please. And just another benefit why we want to attract more people to work in the construction industry, at least in Australia. So there is an economic reason as well. So if we can attract more women and then they can get better income, this will support, right, the entire household. So therefore the economy also can be improved for the families whose members are working in the construction industry. So just to give an example for plumber, every year, on average, they should be able to receive $103,000. So that's about 1.3 billion rupiah, I think, every year. So working in the construction industry actually can be quite a rewarding experience, both for the professional level and also for people working as tradies. So again, carpenters and joiner, 91,000, WHS officer, 95,000. Of course, if you become WHS manager and then director, the salaries will increase significantly. Estimator, 125,000, site manager, 165,000, construction manager, 250 is actually relatively low for construction manager. So in reality, their salary can be very, very high, more than $300,000. So I just include another occupation there, Lendlease CEO. So Lendlease, again, is the largest construction company in Australia. His salary is actually almost $4 million. So it's 48 billion rupiah a year, which is a lucrative earning potential. So the main point is, yeah, if more women are working in the construction industry, then that can support the economy of their household, of the families. And this will be good for the families, and overall, it will be good also for the country. So supporting the economic performance of the country. Next, please. But there are many barriers and challenges in terms of improving gender diversity, again, not only in construction, but can be applied to any other male-dominated industry. So this is the research that we did, not only at UNSW, but we collaborated with other universities as well. And we identified 4 main challenges. The first one, the industry is seen to be, or is people perceive the industry is unattractive. Why is that? Because of lack of awareness. So for most people, the construction industry is about doing manual work on site, which is not wrong in a sense, but there is only one pathway. There are so many other opportunities and pathways in the construction industry. Even nowadays, doing laboring work is also supported by the use of technology, so we can minimize the amount of manual handling. So it's about changing their awareness, changing their perception towards the construction industry. And the second one, lack of family support, the parents especially, because again, they don't understand what the construction industry is, or even engineering disciplines. And if they have daughters, and they will think, why do you want to work in construction? Or why do you want to work in the engineering field? It's better for you to be, I don't know, maybe teachers or nurses or whatever. So it's about changing the perception again of the family members, especially the parents, so they understand the opportunities and potential of working in the construction industry. And lack of school support. Even the teachers or the counselors, they don't understand the construction industry. So usually for female students, they direct them to particular field, more like the female dominated fields. So again, it's about educating even the teachers and the counselors so they can provide the right advice for their students. Another challenge is long work hours, especially because women, not only in Indonesia, but also in Australia, they are still the main people who are responsible for the well-being of the family. So they take care of the families. They have more family responsibilities. That's normal, not only in Indonesia, but in most countries. But the work practices in the construction industry do not allow for such dual role. The women should be committed to work and then should also support their families. Long work hours, especially working on Saturdays, so therefore they don't have time for their families. There is a big problem in the construction industry. Actually, even for men, there is a big issue in the Australian construction industry, because even for men, they
lagi kuliah dari di FKM UI yang datang.
No worries. Because even for men, they spend a lot of time working in the industry. They don't have time for their wife, for their children, for their family, and this can result in a marriage breakdown. So long work hours is an issue for both men and women. Lack of flexible work arrangements, so they need to be present on site. Poor work-life balance, like what I said earlier, and the long work hours eventually contribute to poor mental health for both men and women. Gendered culture, another challenge. The masculine culture in the construction industry is problematic. It leads to harassment and bullying, and sometimes the recruitment and promotion also prefer men. And lack of female mentors or role models is another problem in the construction industry. So therefore, female cannot ask advice, for example, from other females. And lastly, there are negative perceptions of women's ability, lack of skills, they don't understand construction, lack of engineering skills, and lack of strength as well to perform manual work. But again, actually by using technology, strength has become less and less important. Stereotyping, for example, well, women are more emotional, they are illogical, and so on. So therefore, they tend not to recruit women to work in the construction industry. Next, please. In terms of mental health, this again shows another barrier, I suppose, to work in the construction industry. So top stressors in the Australian construction industry, interestingly, for both men and women are the same. So those are the top 4 stressors. And as you can see, they are the same for both men and women. High level of time pressure. So people are expected to work or to finish their work as quick as possible, which then will have consequences in terms of occupational health and safety. Excessive workload, so too much work, long work hours, as I explained earlier, and unpleasant nature of work, because the work site sometimes it's dangerous, it's dirty, and so on. All of them are related to the work nature and culture in construction. So basically, the culture itself needs to be changed if we want to address those stresses. So it's not about equipping the people, okay, you need to know how to cope with the stresses and so on, because all those factors, all those stresses are actually external stresses. So they are technically outside the control of the workers. So therefore, there are opportunities for companies and even at the national level to change the culture of the industry. And the top 10 stresses are correlated with mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, and stress. Next, please. However, there are also differences between the stresses experienced by men and women. So here I highlighted those significant differences. So F is obviously female. So for women, they experience more social stresses, if I can call them social stresses. For example, like discrimination, basically that's the first one, bullying and sexual harassment. So women tend to experience those stresses more in the construction industry. While for men, they experience more work-related stresses, unpredictable work hours, financial difficulties, because usually men are the breadwinners or the main providers in the family, and then working in construction can have insecure job arrangement because only one project and then afterwards no more work. So therefore, financial difficulties are an issue for men. Working night shift and also unfavorable equipment conditions, because maybe men tend to work on site more than women in terms of the use of equipment. So therefore, they experience more stressor or higher stressor level in this particular aspect. Next, please. So I guess those are also barriers and challenges that we need to be aware of if you want to attract more women, and even if you want to improve the occupational health and safety in construction. In terms of mental health conditions, so we assessed the levels of depression, anxiety, and stress. We can see women experience higher level of anxiety and stress. And their levels, if you can see, are higher than past research in other contexts. So if we compare with Australian general population, Australian construction project manager, and Australian nurses, so being a nurse is actually a high-risk industry as well, the levels of all of them, depression, anxiety, and stress, are higher than other contexts. So therefore, something needs to be done in the construction industry to improve the work culture and reduce the level of negative mental health conditions. Next, please. In Australia, again, this is our research because we want to identify, okay, what has been implemented by companies to attract more women. These are initiatives implemented by large construction companies because usually they have more resources to implement these kind of initiatives. So the first one, promoting career development. They have performance review process and individual growth plans. So usually in Australia, every worker or every employee will meet with their supervisor. Can be 3 times a year, can be twice a year, can be every year. It depends. Every company is different. But during the conversation with the supervisor, then the employee and the manager will develop individual growth plans. So what should this person do to advance their career in the industry? Performance incentive schemes. So if you do well, obviously you will get more reward. Training and education, mentoring and coaching, internship and graduate programs. So sometimes the construction companies actually provide internship for women, and they also have graduate program specifically for women as well. So they want to attract female graduates. So if a woman, for example, just completes undergraduate degree, then the woman can participate in the graduate program. Scholarships and sponsorships. So the same, some of them are specific for women because they want to attract women first. They want them to study construction degrees, and then eventually they provide the sponsorship as well to work in their company. And partnership with external parties, so everyone can work together to implement the initiatives, and providing membership to professional associations, so to help women build their networks. The second one, inclusive culture, basically by having diversity and anti-discriminatory policies and procedures. So there should be no preferences in terms of recruitment and promotion between men and women. Diversity and inclusion training as well. I'll speak about this one a bit more later. They also have strategic commitment in terms of attracting women. They set, monitor, and report diversity indicators, so they know the number of women in the workplace, their position, their salary, and so on. So then they can keep monitoring their performance in this regard. And they sometimes do it not only for gender, but for other demographic profiles as well. For example, where the person comes from, international or local, and so on. So they can understand their workforce better and the impact on company performance. Establish employee-led and networks. So sometimes in a company, they can have women's network, support networks, for example, and these kind of initiatives is being led by the employees themselves. So being led by women in the company, for example, to support one another. And also capturing diverse employee voices to understand the challenges or difficulties or how to support them better to advance their career in the company. Next, please. Recruitment, that's quite straightforward. So inclusive hiring and promotion practices. So we don't specify the gender, for example, when we recruit people, and then men and women have the same opportunity to be promoted. And pay equity. If two people are doing the same job, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, they must receive the same salary. So that's the practice in Australia. Shared caring responsibility. So we have parental leave initiative in Australia. Depending on how long a person has worked for a company, they can get 6 months parental leave if they have a new baby. And in some cases, this can be as long as 9 months. And there is paid leave, by the way. And the parental leave applies to both men and women. It depends on who the main carer of the baby is. If the main carer is the dad, then the dad can get the parental leave for 9 months, or sorry, for 6 months or for 9 months, and that is paid. Okay, so it applies for both men and women. And caring support sometimes is provided as well, like childcare subsidies and nurseries in the workplace, and also return to work programs. So after 6 months or after 9 months of leave, which is quite long, then they have a return to work program. So slowly for the parent to return to work, so they can get additional support. Flexible work arrangements, it's very important to formalize the policies and procedures and how to apply them in practice as well, because sometimes a company can have wonderful policies and procedures, but the implementation is lacking. So there is no link between the policies and the actual implementation. Remote working, flex time, so can work not only on specific time, but can be that the work hours can be adjusted depending on the family needs. Sharing arrangements, so one position, for example, can be shared by more than one person. So they can take turn because they can work part-time. Maybe one person Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then another person can be on Tuesday and Thursday. So this kind of work arrangement will provide more flexibility for employees in the construction industry. Next, please. So based on what's going on in the construction industry, then we gave 8 recommendations. The first one, providing tailored support to women at different career stages. So usually at the moment, many of the initiatives are about attracting women, but then how about retaining them in the construction industry? So early career, mid-career, and late career, there should be different support available. Focusing on the effectiveness and follow-up of career development programs. So there are career development programs I mentioned earlier, but then how effective it is should be assessed as well. How they influence the progression of women in the company. Taking a more proactive approach to policy implementation. So that's what I mentioned earlier, making sure there is no gap between the policy and the implementation. Developing measures to address and report the concerns raised by women, and not only by women actually, but can be by anyone in the company. So any suggestions or feedback, for example, should be treated seriously. Recognizing accomplishment, awards, promoting female role models in leadership roles. I think that's quite clear, recognizing the performance of women. And when we have more women at the higher levels, then hopefully this can influence the whole culture in the company. Increasing potential job opportunities for women because of technological advancement. Actually, because of technological advancement, there should be more opportunities for women because that can provide, for example, work flexibility, and that can reduce the amount of manual handling. So it should open more opportunities to work in male-dominated industries. Initiating efforts to retain women after recruitment, as what I mentioned earlier, and supporting flexible working arrangements across all positions, regardless of gender or position. So that's one of the application, and that's one of the biggest issues as well in the construction industry because of the long work hours culture. Next, please. Yeah, I just added this one because I thought they are interesting. The first one, the one on the left, the syarat is requirement, isn't it? Yes, the requirements, wanita, so women. So I'm not sure why only for women. And berpenampilan menarik. How do you assess berpenampilan menarik? How do you assess good looking? Every person has his or her own standard, right? So I'm not, I don't know, maybe this is the culture, but for me personally, I don't quite understand why those are the requirements when we find somebody to work for the company. Jujur, disiplin, bertanggung jawab. So that one, what honest, what is discipline? Strict, not sure, discipline. And then bertanggung jawab is responsible. How do you want to assess them when you want to employ someone? Honest, yeah, of course I will say I'm honest. And then discipline, yeah, of course I will say I'm disciplined. So I mean, the requirement should really be considered a bit more to assess the person in a more, I guess, objective way. The rest maybe that's okay. If we go to the right, project manager, men. Why only men? Again, maybe it's the culture, but for me personally, I can explain, but for me personally, I don't quite understand why. And then maximum 40 years old. Why? I can't apply then because I'm more than 40. So why is that? So there is, if there is a clear reason, sure, that's okay. But if not, then I think we need to start considering why we do something like this. Sehat jasmani dan rohani, sure. Memiliki loyalitas, so you should be loyal. How do you want to assess loyalty? Integrity, honesty, and so on. So I guess my main message is that if you want to be more inclusive in our hiring, something like this we should consider a bit more so we can be fair for everyone who wants to apply in a particular position. Next, please. Okay, so remember I mentioned about providing support for women at different career progression or at different career stages, I suppose. So we have another research and we split the career into pre-career, early career, mid-career, and late career. And we identify the factors that should be considered so we can attract and retain women in the construction industry. So pre-career basically is, well, before the women enter the construction industry. So we classify the factors into individual, relational, and environmental factors. For individual, for example, at the pre-career stage, personal interest is very important. So therefore, women should develop their awareness concerning the construction industry. And then at the relational dimension, parental influence is a very important factor. So the parents should be aware of the opportunities for women to work in the construction industry. And then for environmental dimension, there must be a change in the culture. So more acceptance towards women to work in the construction industry. And not only the workplace itself, but also the support surrounding women, like what I mentioned earlier, the schools, for example. So they need to be aware of the opportunities of working in the construction industry. Early career, the same story. We have attitude. So women should see construction industry positively. Capability, obviously, they need to gain the technical skills as well. Support from managers, mentors, and professional networks, and then culture, organizational practices, and policies and regulations. They should be inclusive and fair for everyone. And mid-career attitude, capability, and past experience, so learning from the past experience and applying it to advance their career. Family responsibilities, because usually in mid-career now they have a family, they have children, so there must be support for them to focus also on their family responsibilities. So usually at this stage, the role of husband is actually very important to support their wives. Support from professional networks and more female role models at the higher level to aspire those women to be at the more senior level. And again, organizational practices. And late career attitude, their career aspiration, especially to help the younger women, support from professional network, and again, organizational practices are basically everywhere because that's the key for women to advance their career into construction industry. Basically, the promotion policy and procedure should be fair for everyone. Next, please. So now we did more research on this one to identify factors affecting career progression. So now we check the LinkedIn profiles of people who are working in the construction industry. So we scrape the LinkedIn profiles using AI to understand the factors affecting their career progression. So we compare men and women's experience. At first, we extracted more than 20,000 profiles, but as you know, LinkedIn doesn't say the gender, right, of the profile. So we use another AI to verify, in a sense, whether based on the name, whether this person is female or male. So we use AI for that purpose. And if the AI is not 95% sure, we exclude those people, those profiles from the analysis. So therefore, from 20,000, we only maintain 12,000 profiles because AI is 95% confident that this person is either man or woman. The 12,000 profiles, you can see the women and men, 2,000 and almost 10,000, 79 large companies, 163 medium companies, and more than 1,000 small companies. And you can see the breakdown as well, how they are spread out within those companies. Next, please. The result. So remember, now we compare between men and women. And then we classify the men and women into first-line managers, middle managers, and top managers. Interestingly, there was no significant difference in the distribution of those profiles. So roughly they are the same, as you can see. Hard to see here. So for first-line managers, for example, 66% of them are 66% of female profile are first-line managers, and then 27% middle managers and 6.7% top managers. For men, 65% are first-line managers, 26% middle managers, and 7.8% are top managers. So there is no significant difference between men and women in terms of their proportion based on the profiles being analyzed. But we need to remember women account for only 13% of the total workforce. And in this study, 18% of the profiles are women when they are randomly collected. So I guess the main point is we still need to recruit more women to enter the construction industry so we can analyze something like this better. Next, please. If we go a bit deeper and see different job categories labeled on LinkedIn related to construction industry, there are massive differences between men and women. For example, for construction management, a lot of men, 24%, but only 3.6% of women associated themselves with this job category. So the difference is massive. While for admin, it's the other way around. So a lot of women, yes, they are working in the construction industry, but they are in the admin roles. While for men, the number is really small. Operations, likewise, way more men. Project management, the same story, more men. While for contract, design, finance, environment, more women. So essentially, there are disparities in job categories. It seems like women were often excluded from certain roles based on gender perceptions, or maybe the women themselves, they choose to pursue admin-related roles. But regardless, there should be initiatives to break down barriers, so therefore women can access traditionally male-dominated roles. So basically giving options to women to choose whichever role they want to work in. Next, please. Okay, so this one, we classify based on the size of the company. So on the left, large company, the middle one, medium enterprises, and the right-hand side is small enterprises. So now we can see a big difference. Interestingly, women gain leadership positions easier in large companies, the one on the left. A lot of the profiles included on LinkedIn, many of them working in the large companies. So then it seems like large companies tend to perform better in terms of promoting gender diversity, probably because they have the resources and probably because they also understand the benefits of gender diversity. So therefore, there is a need for targeted interventions to support small businesses in fostering gender diversity and also to promote women into higher managerial roles because they have limited understanding, they have limited resources, so somehow initiatives should be provided for small businesses. Next, please. Another one, this one is based on the level of educations. Female managers were more likely to hold advanced degrees. So we can see start from, okay, we have secondary education, which is high school, and then we have vocational, undergraduate, and postgraduate. As you can see for undergraduate and postgraduate, more women actually have higher degrees. 49.3% of female managers held a construction-related qualifications compared to 65% of male managers. That is the table here. So the first one, construction-related degree and certificate or short course. Female very small, male is a bit bigger. The second one, construction degree without any construction certificate or short course. Again, male is bigger. And the last one, the third one, sorry, non-construction degree and then construction-related certificate. So now female is bigger, and the last one, non-construction degree and no construction-related certificate. Again, female is very big there. So from this result, we can see that women may initially study fields unrelated to construction. And as a result, because now they see, oh, construction is actually a good field for me to work on, then they need to get additional qualifications, construction qualification to work in the construction industry. And then another implication, women may begin their careers in other industries and then transition to construction industries. And as a result, they need to gain additional construction qualifications because of that reason. So it shows the importance of building the awareness as early as possible, right? For the women themselves, for their parents, and also for the school teachers and counselors, so they can provide the right advice for everyone. Next, please. This diagram shows the number of followers on LinkedIn. So women with over 15 years of experience had lower followers than men. It shows the importance of developing networks. Although younger women may be more proactive in using LinkedIn to demonstrate their abilities and achievements, because as you can see now, younger women with less experience, they have more followers than men. Next, please. But the main point is to show the importance of support networks or organizational industry networks to develop a career. Another research. So this one focuses specifically only on female top managers. So basically the directors and higher. Earlier, the focus is on all management levels, but this one only on top managers. For top managers, women in small enterprises were more likely to be classified as top managers, probably because, as you know, in small companies, they have a flatter structure. So therefore, it's easier for women to be in the top management position. Experience matters, that's clear, but it stabilizes after 7 years. So after 7 years, experience become less important than the other factors. But even this one is problematic because women often face career interruptions, especially when they have children. So additional experience alone cannot significantly increase the likelihood of attaining senior leadership. As I said earlier, there are other factors which influence women's progression to become top managers. Top managers have more followers than lower level managers. I think that's quite clear, indicating the importance of building influence through professional networks. Awards, recognition, education have limited influence on career progression, especially if people would like to become top managers. So they are important probably in the early stage of career, but to become top managers, they are not as important. Next, please. Now, the use of technologies to promote women's participation. So there are opportunities for us to adopt more technologies, and eventually this can help to attract more women, and even it can help men to perform their job as well. Remote inspections to reduce health and safety risks. I think nowadays we can have a drone, for example, to help inspection in difficult places to reach. In Australia, sometimes we use a drone for, if we have a road infrastructure, rather than driving on the road and then check a lot of inspection points, we can just use a drone, and then the drone will fly throughout the road and to identify any problems or any defects, and that will be much faster, more efficient, more accurate, and then it's better in terms of occupation health and safety as well. Using prefabrication instead of in situ construction. Prefabrication is transferring construction activities from the site to the factory. So we can build floor panels in the factory, or maybe wall panels. So sometimes we can build the entire bathroom, like the room in a factory, and then we transport those components on site for installation. So that's the meaning of prefab. By using prefab, we can use more automation, right? We can use robots, for example, in the factory to build those components. And when we work in a factory, it is an enclosed environment, so protected from the rain, from the sun, and so on. So therefore, it's safer to work in a factory. So that's the meaning of that one, using prefab instead of in situ, because we can reduce manual handling. Then at the same time, by doing so, we can attract women as well to work in the construction industry or in the prefab companies. Using VR, AR, MR simulation for training. So instead of doing the training directly on site, we can use a VR, for example, which will be in a safer environment. Digital twins for construction control and monitoring. So that's a potential as well. That's still a bit far away, but we are moving to that direction. Do you know digital twin? The meaning or no? So digital twin, let's say this building will have a digital twin, which you can observe in your computer. So if we turn on something in this building, it should be reflected in the digital twin. If you do anything inside the building, even the movement of people, it should be reflected as well in the digital twin. So usually we need to have a lot of sensors, so therefore can capture the live conditions of the building, which then will be reflected in the digital twin. So that's the meaning of digital twin. So we are moving to this direction, which is obviously can easily improve construction control and monitoring. So the same story, right? On site, we can install a lot of sensors and cameras. So therefore, whatever is happening on site can be reflected in the digital twin of that site for the purpose of monitoring and control. One thing that we do, not widely, but in some projects, we have like a 360 camera. So then the inspector will just walk around with the 360 camera. And then afterwards, that camera can be uploaded and the result can be compared with the design drawings to find any disparities between what is being inspected using the camera with the design drawings. So that can improve monitoring significantly, right? Will be more accurate and will be easier as well for the inspector to check the condition on site. Sense? Okay. And technologies for remote and flexible working. So nowadays it's more flexible, right? We don't need to be on site directly, but we can do the work remotely when we have those kind of technologies. Next, please. At UNSW, we have Women in Construction project as well. So we are responding to the government's call to attract more women to work in the construction industry. So we received $2.3 million to run the UNSW Women in Construction project using a life cycle approach, attract and retain women. So first, we engage high school students, their parents, school advisors or counselors, and also the community to build awareness concerning the opportunities of working in the construction industry. And then we support women who are studying construction degrees. We also contribute to changing the industry culture through our research and recommendations. The last one is obviously research activities, which then contribute to changing the industry culture. Next, please. Just to give you some examples of the application of the funding that we receive. So we promote construction as a career option for women. We develop resources. So then we can attract high school female students and also educate the community and their support networks. For example, we developed 16 videos portraying different career options for women. So they can understand better, okay, construction, as what I said earlier, is not only about doing laboring work on site, but there are so many positions available in the construction industry. So that's the purpose why we develop the videos. Handbook showing career options and relevant degrees. So we have like a handbook showing where not only women technically, anyone can study construction. So we have all the list of universities and all the list of degrees available in Australia if they want to gain construction qualifications. We conducted so far more than 400 workshops and presentations for students, for school advisors, for parents and the wider community to build their awareness of the construction industry. And we also conduct construction site visits and virtual tours. So I'll show you later. So we develop a VR construction site, because otherwise, if we keep arranging site visits, that's really complicated, and that will hinder the work of the construction company as well. So therefore, we develop a VR construction site. Next, please. This is an example of the presentation which we usually give to show different career options in the construction industry, again, to build their awareness so they understand construction has many pathways. This one is the project delivery pathway. For example, they can study construction management in a university, and then afterwards they can become graduate engineer, and then eventually site engineer. From site engineer, they can split depending on their preferences. They can become project engineer, senior project engineer, project manager, project director, operation manager, or from project manager, they can become construction manager and general manager for building. Otherwise, another alternative, from site engineer, they can focus on services, service engineer, service manager, service director. So service basically is like the plumbing, the electricity, the telecommunication, and so on. So that's called services in Australia. Or they can become design coordinator, design manager, and design director. So there are many pathways. Next one, please. Another one still, commercial pathway. So if the people like money, they focus more on the documentation. There are pathways for that one. First, again, they need to study, usually in a university, and then afterwards they can choose the commercial pathways in a sense. They have commercial graduate, junior contract admin, senior contract admin, commercial manager, and then general manager for commercial. Or they can focus on procurement. Procurement means the tendering process, right? They need to choose the contractors to perform the work. So procurement coordinator, admin, senior procurement admin, procurement manager, senior procurement manager, and general manager for procurement. Or even further, they can choose the estimating pathway. Junior estimator, senior estimator, estimating manager, and the chief estimator. Again, many pathways are available in the construction industry. Next, please. And there are still other pathways, site delivery from apprentice to superintendent. So that one is the laboring on site pathway, if I can use that term. And then health, safety, environment, sustainability, and also design and engineering. The diagram there shows the health and safety pathway. They can study, again, construction management degree, or they can focus directly on safety science, and then they can become health and safety trainee, health and safety coordinator, advisor, manager, and eventually the director or general manager for health and safety. Many opportunities in the construction industry, but not many people realize the opportunities. Next, please. So something like this, I think, can be applied in any industries, just to build the awareness of the potential opportunities of working in specific industry. So this is just high school events and industry collaboration. So we collaborated with many construction companies because we invited high school students basically to visit the company, so they know more concerning the experience of working in the construction industry. So these are just 3 examples. Next, please. This one is an interesting one, again, with female high school students as well. So basically, the students build that shed on the back. Yeah, not by themselves, obviously. They are helped by vocational teachers to develop or to build the shed directly. So they learn the entire process of construction, from planning designing the shed, and then how to procure the contractors in a sense and all the materials, and then they put them together as well. So it's been a valuable experience for the students. But to be fair, the risk management is a nightmare because we built that one in the UNSW campus, and then the risk management process is crazy. But it's a good experience, but probably I don't want to do it again. Next one, please. Because the health and safety is wow. And at the end, actually, we need to have a mobile crane to lift the shed and then put on a big truck. And then we transported the shed to like the local community. So therefore, the community can actually use the built facility. But yeah, it's really hard to organize. This is what I mentioned earlier, creating VR tour to promote construction. Actually, you can access the link as well if you want to give it a go. I'll share the slides later, but that's okay, I'll share later. Yes, so then we invite people, especially high school students, to give it a go. So they know the experience, I suppose, of walking on site and see different items on site as well. So we use camera to capture the construction site at different level. And then the VR tour can be done using 2D, so just using a laptop, you can move around and then see different items, or you can use like the VR devices on the top right there for a more immersive experience. Next, please. So this is part of the research concerning the VR, enabling learners to explore construction sites virtually, safely, and repeatedly at their own pace without disrupting real-world operations. And it provides realism. The development time is fairly short, lower technical and computational requirements, and as a result, we can reduce the costs as well to produce the VR tour. And those are the levels which we capture using the camera in that project. So that project is a hospital project. And those are the items highlighted in the VR tour. So therefore, when the user clicks this particular item, then the user can see the explanation of what the item is. Next one, please. And that's how the VR tour looks like in 2D version. So the introduction video, and then you can see the dots there. When they click that dot, they can go directly to that particular location, or they can use the arrow as well to move around the site. And on every dot, there is something or an item which they can see. So they can see the explanation of what the item is. Next, please. We tested the VR for both men and female, for male and female students, and they actually like it. So we have usefulness factors, ease of use, and learning impact factors. And you can see the means are actually really high. So that is from 1 to 5 Likert scale. So for example, the first one, it enhances my understanding of construction site. And then the VR tour was easy to access and operate. That's actually the highest one. And the last one, the experience motivated me to learn more about construction projects. So I think using something like that to educate people and to build their awareness is useful. Next, please. Now the support for women studying construction. So earlier, those are the activities that we do to build awareness among female high school students, their parents, the school teachers, and the community. So now this is the support for women who are studying construction in universities. So we provide scholarships just to attract women to study construction. And once they start their study, we provide mentorship as well. So we connect those women with industry people, and they can learn the reality of working in the construction industry. So therefore, they are more ready as well to enter the industry. And by doing the mentorship, they can develop their networks as well. We provide internships. So basically, again, we connect female students, university students with construction companies. So therefore, the women can actually work in those construction companies. And the construction companies don't pay anything because UNSW actually pays their salary. So therefore, for those companies, they don't have any financial risks, right? Because we cover all the salaries. So then at least the company can have the experience of having female employees in their company, and this can hopefully support them further to attract, to recruit more women. And we also have guest lectures, female construction practitioners, so that the people can see, hey, actually we have female construction professionals working in the construction industry, and this person is successful as well. And those logos are just some companies that we collaborate with. Next, please. And just an example of one of the guest lectures that we have. The presentation is called Shaking Up the Construction Industry, and this is public lecture open to all people at UNSW. And I think it was attended by 340 people. The presenter is Alison Mirams. She was the CEO of Roberts Go. I think it's good to see that, hey, women can actually become a CEO in the construction industry, again, to change the perception of people. Next, please. And these are the videos which I mentioned earlier. We developed 16 videos, right, to show different roles in the construction industry. The top left, contract admin. We have site engineer, quantity surveyor, director of a construction company. So Sarah is a director. Veronica was my student. Now he is project manager at Jones Lang LaSalle. My student as well, senior project engineer, and Maggie is submissions coordinator. Next, please. Annie is a carpenter, which is good to see a woman to work as a carpenter. Loredana, design manager. ST is project director, a very influential woman. Lucia, my student, project engineer. Rene is environmental, social, and governance coordinator. Michelle, working in the public sector. Natalie is national bid manager, and Shannon is property portfolio manager. So those videos show different roles available in the construction industry, and it's good to see how women can build a successful career in the construction industry. And there's a YouTube as well. So you just search on YouTube, UNSW Women in Construction, if you want to watch the videos. Next, please. Just an example. This is one of the video. You can click play, please, so you get a sense what we produce.
My name is
there any sound?
Project manager at JLL. I completed my construction management and property degree at UNSW, and I graduated in 2019. The role entails talking to clients, talking to contractors, organising my team, trying to get the projects completed under time and within budget. When I first entered the industry, I was still at university, and I started off maybe in a cadet role, you would say. And once I graduated, I then went into a contracts administrative role, did that for a couple of years, and they were a really great smaller company. And my manager at the time was a really awesome guy who I could ask the silliest questions to him, and I never felt silly. Anytime that I had difficulty on site, he would be the first one I would talk to. And when it finally came time to get the promotion as a project manager, I actually, funnily enough, rejected it because I felt almost like an an imposter syndrome came over me, and I thought I wasn't ready for that role, but he was super supportive and said, "You've got this, just say yes, do it." And here I am today, and I feel more confident than ever. I'm very lucky to work at JLL. I think we have a team of over, or maybe just near 50% of women. But throughout my journey in the industry, I have met amazing women and very powerful women, and I look up to those women every day. Always had good mentors around me, men and women, and they've been super supportive of me. If other women are thinking of joining this industry, I would say yes. I'm such an advocate to just give it a go. Anyone can be a project manager. So be open to learning and you will have a very prosperous career in construction.
Project manager. Now, it's good that she has male mentor as well, showing that both men and women have roles if you want to attract more women to enter the construction industry, as long as we have the right mindset and attitude to see the need to improve gender diversity in construction. Next, please. I have a problem earlier as well to put next. Showing the video. This time I should not make this big. Then click next. Yes. Okay, is that shared already? Yes, it is shared. Okay. Yes, sorry, technical issue. And then changing the industry culture, so we disseminate best practices to promote women to leadership positions. So I think I presented a lot concerning the research that we did. We have free online unconscious bias and knowledge course. So sometimes everyone has his or her own biases, which actually can disadvantage people. We do it unconsciously. So I think it's important to understand this unconscious knowledge and bias, that we all have it, and understand how it can affect our relationship with other people and how it can even affect their career progression. And we have upskilling funding for female practitioners. So for women who are currently working in the construction industry, we actually provide funding for them if they want to upskill themselves so they can reach higher management position. For example, they can do leadership training, then hopefully that can help them to get higher management positions. Next, please. And this is the unconscious knowledge and bias learning course, which I mentioned earlier. We provide the course for free. You can give it a go as well if you want to. The link is available there. Again, I will share the slides with everyone. If you want to give it a go, it's only 30 minutes roughly to complete the training. So you know the meaning of unconscious bias and knowledge and how it can affect the way we interact with other people. Next, please. And we support women's networking events as well. Again, the main purpose is for women to develop their networks. Next, please. And the impact of what we do so far. So we can see the first one on the left for female high school students and the community. So we conducted more than 400 workshops and presentations, and we have reached out to nearly 6,000 female high school students throughout the country. And we reached out to more than 4,000 community members to educate them concerning the construction industry. For female university students, 18 of them have received scholarships to study construction. 70 mentees, so we connected 70 female students with mentors in the construction industry. 50 internships, so 50 women gain work experience in the construction industry, and we paid their salaries, and we provided 2 PhD scholarships as well. For industry culture, 70 women have been upskilled. More than 200 participants of the unconscious knowledge and bias training. Our social media impression have reached a high number. We have been interviewed by 7 News and CIOB, and obviously we produced scholarly articles as well from this project. Next one, please. And this is the last one, just to summarize the impact of the Women in Construction project at UNSW.
In 2022, we are successful in the bidding of a large $2.3 million Australian government funding Women in Construction project.
The UNSW Women in Construction project uses a life cycle approach to attract, retain, and empower women in the Australian construction industry. The project has 3 groups of activities. First, we engage more than 9,000 female high school students and their community members to show the diverse career pathways in construction.
To achieve this, we developed 16 videos providing details about career development paths and established women role models in construction. We also created an online storybook of 19 women who have successfully established their career in construction industry.
Second, we support women who are currently studying construction in higher education institutions. We provide scholarship, mentorship, and internship. We gave 18 scholarships to attract women to study construction. We connected more than 70 women with industry mentors who gave them practical guidance concerning how to develop their career in this important industry. About 40 women have joined our internship program, giving them an initial work experience.
Finally, for those women who are already working in the construction industry, we provide upskill and leadership training fund to support their career development ambitions.
More than 70 women have received our upskilling funding, allowing them to upskill themselves to reach higher leadership roles.
We also organize or co-organize the seminars, workshops, and forums to support women's professional networking, and over 900 women have participated in it.
I have been very fortunate to receive upskilling funding from the University of New South Wales Women in Construction project, which has allowed me to study a Diploma of Building and Construction Management.
I had the chance to be a part of the mentoring program that helped me gain new insights and build connections with several like-minded women.
The support I received from the University of New South Wales was amazing. I've gone from actually being a qualified tradesperson myself within carpentry to now training and assessing all students of all ages within the construction industry to develop their own career skills.
We've had younger women, older women, women escaping domestic violence. That was super powerful. We had them building the next generation of centres for women escaping domestic violence.
I've been lucky enough to work with some of the women that have come through the program for women of domestic violence, and they've loved every minute of it, and I've been so lucky to be able to mentor them and show them what happens with the industry.
The initiative has had a huge impact on my career. It's helped me feel more prepared to step into the workforce, and it's given me a strong network of women and many other people in the industry that I can lean on and learn from.
This course will help me develop my leadership skills, which will be required for the next steps in my career.
Currently a PhD student at UNSW. Through the project, I've received access to countless training programs, seminars, and networking opportunities within the Australian construction sector.
I have received ongoing support from the UNSW Women in Construction team, with first being my undergraduate scholarship and the second being my internship with Prime Projects.
This support has given me the real-world experience, built my confidence, and helped me clarify my career path in the construction industry.
The more we can do now to support more women in the industry, the better the construction industry will be.
I'm incredibly grateful to University of New South Wales for not only the investment in my development, but also for their broader commitment to supporting women in construction.
To gain in-depth understanding about the gender issues in construction, we awarded 2 PhD scholarships to carry out research on how advanced digital technologies have provided challenges and opportunities for women in construction. We hope our research outcome will not only benefit Australian construction industry, but also place an impact globally.
Thank you to the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet's Office for Women to fund this impactful project.
Thank you. That's the last. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Liza, for the wonderful presentations. And is there any questions from the audience, from students here? Okay, one and another one. Is there any other questions?
Good afternoon, Professor Riza. My name is Alia. Thank you so much for the presentation. And this is actually a very interesting one because it is a very underrated or under-discussed topic here in occupational health and safety, I mean, in my opinion. But there's an article that I read before. It was about how big corporations or big organizations nowadays hired women only for positions. And it was because they wanted to, because they think it is the right move to promote their company. It's good for their reputations because they consider it as a very progressive move. Right? And I agree, it is a very progressive, but if that is the case, then I wonder if once the women are hired, they will be taken seriously. And especially in a male-dominated industry, so this kind of, as much as I don't want to admit it, this kind of challenges are still very much exist, like prejudice, stereotypes, things like that. And I don't want to ask how to get rid of that. Of course, it's very difficult to get rid of like stereotypes. But what I wanted to ask is, most of us here wanted to continue our career as occupational health officer, and most of us here, as you can see, are women. So I wanted to ask, how do you think is the most effective way to approach worker? Because as an occupational health safety officer, we eventually have to interact with workers, and in construction, it's a male-dominated industry. So I wanted to ask, how is the best approach? What is the best approach for us women to be able to perform our role effectively and then promote health and safety in construction? Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that's a very good question. A bit difficult to answer as well. I think, yeah, it needs time because, yeah, we need to do it slowly. We need to demonstrate our performance, and then we need to show why, you as a woman and can actually perform as well as men, for example. So I think slowly, when we have more women in the industry or even in a particular occupation, and you can prove yourself that you are capable of performing the same as men or even better as men, slowly the culture in the industry also can be changed. If I look at myself, to be honest, probably at the leadership position at UNSW, because I'm the only Asian in most cases. So in a sense, I need to prove myself. Am I a diversity recruitment, or do I actually can perform better than my colleagues? So in a sense, I understand the experience that you ask. So I think it's go back to yourself, to myself as well. Yes, okay, I'm in this leadership position. So now I need to demonstrate that I can actually perform better than other people when I am placed in this particular position, especially for me as really a small minority at UNSW. So, and at the end, it's about showing the business case as well. I mentioned the same thing as well yesterday. Even for health and safety, you need to demonstrate the business case, right? Why people should focus on health and safety, because it's good for the company. So it's about showing the benefits of the same for gender diversity. When you have more women, then this can be good for the bottom line of the company. So just to show the business case, because in today's work environment, everything is about money. That's fine. That's the reality. Then we work with that kind of constraint.
Okay. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for the presentation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nadia, and I want to ask, and I would like to ask some questions. Based on the previous learning session on safety leadership that we learned yesterday, one of the challenges in implementing occupational health and safety is the presence of migrant workers with different or diverse backgrounds, language, and perceptions about women, especially. In your opinion, what strategies can be implemented to address and overcome negative perceptions toward women in the workplace?
Thank you. Again, it's always not easy if you want to change the culture of the industry. So we can do it progressively, I suppose. So therefore, all the activities that we do, the purpose is to slowly change the mindset of people and to eventually change the industry culture. I think for me personally, again, it goes back to the performance of people or the performance of those women. If they can demonstrate that they can perform as better as men or even better as men, then slowly the culture of the industry also can be changed. It's can't be done like just, okay, I want to implement this one and then let's have a workplace which is wonderful for everyone, for women, for migrant workers. Yeah, it takes time, but I suppose slowly we do it together to change the industry culture and mindset. Yeah, sorry, I don't have direct answer because, yeah, as you know, changing the industry culture is always a challenging thing to do. Even if you want to change the culture in a company, for example, I think the top managers play a very important role to drive all the changes in the company, and then it takes time to eventually change the process. Yeah, I hope that answers.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Other questions?
Maybe if I can add a little bit more. Sometimes when we are in the minority group, at the same time, we also need to improve ourselves as well. For example, like me, because I'm a migrant in Australia, I really try to even change the way I speak. So I try to minimize my Indonesian accent, for example, and then really change the way I speak English. So something small like that, for example, just to show personal effort to improve ourselves. Yeah.
Good morning, Professor. My name is Kalisa. First of all, thank you so much for the very insightful presentation of yours. So lately, sexual harassment has been the top news headline in Indonesia. There are a lot of men sexualize women verbally and non-verbally. My question is how to make sure that there is no sexual harassment, or how to minimize the rate of sexual harassment happen to the women in a male-dominated industry? And what recommendation would you suggest to Indonesia company to handle this problem based on the human resource in Indonesia?
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
From Australia, what we do to minimize or to even eliminate as much as we can sexual harassment. First, we have the policy, but then the policy must be really implemented. It's not like only something on paper, but then if someone does sexual harassment or saying something inappropriate, there must be like a channel for a person to report such instances. And then the report should be treated seriously as well. So that's what we do in Australia. So there is a channel for people to voice up their concerns, and then every report is treated seriously, and the person eventually can be punished in a sense if they do that kind of thing. So I think it starts from the company themselves to have the policies, and then the policy should be truly implemented to be effective. Otherwise, it stays on paper. So that's what we do in Australia in terms of addressing this kind of sexual harassment. And at the same time, by having more women in the male-dominated industry, slowly it becomes the norm to work in such an environment. And usually when we have more women, more role models, especially when we have women at a higher position level, the entire culture also can be changed slowly, which make it more conducive for women. That's again what we do in Australia. So I think that's the starting point, having the right policy, and the policy must be enforced.
Okay, so good morning, Professor. Thank you for the presentation of today's topic. So my name is Kirena. Please address me Kirei. And I want to ask about a question that our topics today already have the answer or the pathway within these issues about the gender diversity. But how about the general itself? Like you already presented about the diversity gender, the stressor, and etc. Mostly in Australia, but in Indonesia itself, that I already gathered some information based from social media, especially like X, Twitter, or Instagram, etc. It's about the direct wage discrimination. Like the example is the participation of women in labor or harsh work in Indonesia itself is less than 60%, rather than men are higher than 80%. And it shows that this wage discrimination already exists in Indonesia. Not only that, but also in this wage discrimination, such as that already informed by the others, like sexual harassment, or I found that on LinkedIn or any social media itself that I found it's about the pay gap between women and men in the same environment, especially in construction or etc. And whether it's that, and in that. And also, it is illegal in many ways because of this gender pay gap actually exists due to the vertical or the horizontal segmentation. And I want to ask about how the Australian itself, whether from the government or etc., approach the proactive to the policy, and what should we take the notes from Australian, so we in the future that we could apply from these Australian to our environment itself. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I guess a feedback. Sometimes what is being implemented in Australia may not be applicable in Indonesia. It's very important to understand the socio-cultural context in a particular country before we adopt something. So sometimes we need to change to make it more applicable in Indonesia, for example. So I guess my point is don't copy and paste. Okay. The second one concerning the pay gap, I think what we implement in Australia is a matter of anyone based on gender, based on race, based on age. It depends on what you do. So if you perform in this role, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, definitely you will get this salary. So that's very clear. It's open. But in Indonesia, I know sometimes people can negotiate, right? Okay, I want this, I want the higher pay, and then blah, blah, blah. So yes, that can create the gender pay gap. But what we do in Australia, we have this kind of policy, I suppose. So if this is the role, very clear. Every role has the salary attached with the role as well. So regardless whether this is a woman or man, apply for this role. If the person gets the job, then very clear, this is the salary. So therefore, we can minimize gender pay by doing something like that. Yeah. I hope that answers, but yeah, that's what we do. So we try to minimize the negotiation tactic. In smaller companies, they still can negotiate, but in big ones, usually it's very clear, the salary expectations.
Okay, thank you very much for your attentions, students. And I think we already at the end of the sessions. And is there any questions lastly from the Zoom audience? No? Okay, how many participants in the Zoom meeting? Is that? For 15 participants from the Zoom meetings. Okay, before we close, I think I wanted to a bit summarize probably, and I hope it can be our next research in occupational health and safety. As we know that Professor Riza mentioned, construction industry is the third largest industry in Australia, and I think in Indonesia as well. And it employs about 10% of Australian workforce, and women make up only 13% of the construction workers. And in Australia, they face shortage workforce, and the benefits of gender diversity. It's really talked much with Professor Riza. And safety concerns, it's really interesting, and I think we can do the research as well in Indonesia, that women often feel less, women often feel safer than the men in the construction environments. And for the health vulnerability, men more vulnerable than the women. And the economic impact, and women can support household finance, and it's more opportunities for the families, and also family and children. We can also adopt this hopefully in the future regarding the benefits of children, and then family well-being, that the government provided the supports from the for the parents that have to take the leaves. And also, we can also do some collaborations in the future regarding the gender diversity between Indonesia and Australia, hopefully in the future. Okay, thank you very much for your attentions. And last session, we have group photos. Hopefully, all the students can more tighten in the middle. So hopefully we can take the photo. Just sit in your positions, and Professor Riza probably can sit here with Mr. Arding. Yeah. Here, just take here. Okay. Okay. Can you go more in the forward, please? Ya. Ayo, yang di belakang bisa ke depan biar bisa kelihatan. Ayo geser ke depan. Boleh? Oh ya. Ayo yang di belakang bisa ke depan. Move. Ayo. Boleh? Apa? Ayo, pindah. Ayo belakang bisa isi ke depan dong. Bisa pindah ke depan dulu, bisa pindah. Dah? Ayo. Cepet, udah jam 11 lewat. Bercandain nanti aja ya. Bercandain nanti ya. Ayo, maju. Maju. Duduk aja. Oke. Bisa diababai.
Oke, semuanya siap? 1, 2, 3. Oke, lagi 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Ya. Silakan teman-teman bisa scan QR code yang di depan untuk mendapatkan sertifikat.
For student from 2025, don't forget tomorrow we still have another lecture for industrial process at 10 AM. Thank you. Jadi untuk minggu ini nggak ada tugas ya, jadi aman.